Hello and welcome to Woodbridge, the best town around. My name is John McCormick. I'm the mayor of this great town. And we're here today to do something we do every September, which is designate National Hydrocephalus Awareness Month in Woodbridge Township. So let me read this proclamation. First, let me introduce the council that are here. To my right, 3rd Ward Councilman Corey Spiller, who covers Avenel and Port Reading. To his right, Councilwoman Lizbeth DeJesus, who's at large, which means, like me, she represents the whole town. And Councilman Greg Ficarro, who's also at large. Whereas, let me call up Mike and Kim Leons and my buddy Cole, the man who officially has more pictures with me on Facebook in the last 10 and a half years than anybody else in Woodbridge Township, or America for that reason, for that matter. Whereas the United States Congress each year designates the month of September as National Hydrocephalus Awareness Month, thereby elevating hydrocephalus as a medical condition that requires national resources devoted to research and awareness. And whereas the number of people who develop hydrocephalus or who are currently living with hydrocephalus is difficult to establish since there is no national registry of people with the condition. Nevertheless, experts estimate that hydrocephalus affects over 1 million Americans and occurs in 1.5 of every 1,000 births and in an estimated 700,000 older Americans. And whereas Michael and Kim Leons, executive officers and national directors of advocacy of the Pediatric Hydrocephalus Foundation and founding officers of the Woodbridge Township Pediatric Hydrocephalus Foundation, have led the national effort to increase public awareness and information regarding hydrocephalus. And whereas the association includes representatives from the national, state, and local levels to recognize the estimated 1 million Americans touched by hydrocephalus, and encourages leaders from professional, community, and medical-based organizations and associations to work with the medical community in the search for a cure, and to explore additional treatment options for those affected with hydrocephalus, to educate the community by raising the level of awareness about this brain condition, and to provide support to the families, friends, and children who are diagnosed with hydrocephalus. Now, therefore, I, John E. McCormick, Mayor of the Township of Woodbridge, in concert with the Woodbridge Township Municipal Council, do hereby recognize the period beginning the first day of September through the 30th day of September in the year 2017 to be National Hydrocephalus Awareness Month. So now what's important with this proclamation, I think the word is there somewhere, national. Michael and Kim have started something at a local level that literally went national, and they are the national experts. I mean, the whole entire country, of all the million people, pick a number, however many hundreds of thousands or a million people there are that have this disease, they have become the national spokesman for it. They travel to Washington all the time. I know when Congressman Lance was our congressman, they were very active with him. I know they talked to Congressman Pallone a lot. Now, they're just wonderful advocates after their son Cole was diagnosed with this disease. And I'd like to now ask Mike if he wants to say a few words about the whole effort.
I'll give it a shot. I'm very shy.
Yeah, I know you are.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Mayor, council members. John, thank you for putting this together. Like the mayor said, this is an effort that started locally. The mayor was very open to helping us raise awareness years ago, and it really started off on a national level. This was the first town in the country to ever raise an awareness flag for hydrocephalus that has been duplicated, triplicated all over the country during the month of September, and this is the first area that's done it. Thanks to this mayor, I want to thank you again for everything you've done for raising awareness for hydrocephalus. And it's not just Kim and I. We have a board of directors and some great people that we've met along the years that we started the PHF with. We have the Jansen family here who has a daughter with hydrocephalus, and the Westdyke family here that has a son with hydrocephalus here. We have my friends from the MAC, neighborhood friends, and family that are here as well. So I want to thank everybody for coming. As the mayor said, we've been to Washington, D.C. to help raise awareness for this terrible condition, try to make lives better for the people who have it, both children and adults. It's been a struggle to get that kind of recognition that we need to help combat this. Over the years, we've raised over $450,000 for research. Last year, thank you. And this is an all-volunteer organization. Nobody makes a salary. I just came from my real job. We do this. Kim does it full-time for free on behalf of our son and other children. And really what brought us together, why there is a PHF, why we're here today at this time for this event is because of my son, my hydro hero Cole, who's had 13 brain surgeries. And like I said, we donated $65,000 this past year, $110,000 in the last 2 years, and over $450,000 since 2010. I think that's a really good number for an all-volunteer organization. We're in 23 plus states around the country with national chapters, state chapters for the national organization. I think that's been a great accomplishment. And why we're having this event tonight, and through the last couple of weeks, there's been at least 10 children and adults who are currently or just got out of the hospital due to hydrocephalus-related brain surgeries. 2 of them will not be coming home because they lost their battle. My son has this condition. We will do whatever we can to fight. We will do whatever we can to win. And one day we'll find a cure for hydrocephalus. Thank you.
You take the opportunity to say some of the things you do to raise money, like the golf outing and the walk. You got that golf outing coming up in October, right?
September 30th, to end Hydrocephalus Awareness Month. The mayor is hosting a mini golf event. We're going to honor first responders as well by donating the holes for them to golf and breakfast in the morning or during the event from 10 to 12 at the Woodbridge Community Center at the miniature golf. We have a walk next week on September 9th. We have this event tonight. We have events going on all over the country. September 23rd, we have a walk in Washington State and a walk in Massachusetts. We have events all through the rest of the year to help us raise money. $1, $100, $1,000, it all helps. And it all is going to go towards research and one day fund a cure for hydrocephalus.
Will you be in Washington or Massachusetts?
We're going to Massachusetts, September 23rd. And an organization that we support and that helps sponsor our D.C. event is having an event in Utica on September 16th, and Kim will be going and supporting them.
Someone just came in.
Last year's, 2 years ago, National Ambassador Haley is here.
Oh, wow.
There she is. She's the shy one.
She grew up a lot.
Yeah, she got big. I haven't seen her in a year.
Wow, yeah.
So there's many people here that are supporting the PHF, and we have about 4 people here that have hydrocephalus. So this is in their recognition as well. And there's one right there, Jeffrey, raising his hand.
Haley, you want to come up? She was like the national
ambassador. Yep, ambassador. 2 years ago. 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
Come on up. Why don't you say a little bit about your experience being like a national hero to talk about hydrocephalus? Tell me what it was like. Did you go a lot of places?
It was fun, and I loved Washington.
It was fun, and I love Washington.
Washington? Okay, you want to go there someday as a congressman or a senator? Just say yes. So did you feel special when you went all these different places and everybody was real nice to you? Did you make you feel real special?
Yes.
Yeah, and how about Mom and Dad? Are they here? Cool. What do you want to say to them? And your brothers and sisters that are all here. What do you want to say? Say like, thanks, right? Thanks for going with me on my journey, and we're not done yet? Well, you say good things. Are you just naturally shy? She's not shy, is she? I don't remember her being shy. You're just shy because there's a camera here? You want to hold this up? Take a picture? Cole, come on up. Jeffrey. Anybody else want to come up? Jeffrey? Okay, you turn here. Hold this with Haley. Here, hold this, Cole. Hold the proc. Come on, Jeff. You stand right in the middle, and you hold it up, and then we'll move out of the way. We'll take some pictures.
There you go. Nice. Good job. Good job.
Good job, guys.
All right. How about you, Jeffrey? You want to say anything?
Oh, no.
Oh, no? Oh, no? Is that a mistake? You want to say anything?
No.
No? Okay. All right, let me have this back. I'm giving it to Mike and Kim. I want to recognize Assemblyman Craig Coughlin, who came in. And also I want to thank the mayor's. Mike said MAC. A lot of people don't know what MAC means. MAC means the Mayor's Advisory Committee. It's a group that does amazing things in our town. Every race, every parade, every function, every concert, they're always out there helping and volunteering and making sure things go smooth. And there's a lot of them here today from the MAC because Mike is a long time member of the MAC. So out of respect for him, a lot of those members are here today. So thank you for that. All right. And now I think we're going to go outside and raise the flag. So all you kids ready to help me raise the flag? All right, let's go do it. What do you think? Okay, you guys, come here. I'll tell you what to do. Everybody hold a piece of the rope. The little people go on the bottom, and the taller guys reach up. You reach up. You go on the bottom. Cole, come here. Come on, pal. Come on over here. Now you hold this, And when I say go, you're just going to pull it down slowly, and the flag's going to go up slowly. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Slowly, slowly. That's it. There, Cole, help him down. That's it. Bring it down. Bring it down. Bring it down. Wait, wait, wait. A little more.
Can we keep going?
Hold it. Is it? Somebody tell me. I can't tell. Good.
Good. I think we're good. Yeah, probably good.
Good. All right.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, now help me tie it. Come here. Come here. Wrap it around like this. Let's go. Can you guys wrap it around? Nope. You missed. There you go.
I missed.
There you go. Man, you guys are official flag raisers. You guys are good.
You gotta get.
Yes, you do. Good man. Good man. All right. I think let's all look at the camera and say hello.
Hello, world.
Hello, world. This only goes on Woodbridge, dude. This is not national broadcast yet. Not yet, anyway.
Well, hello, Woodbridge.
Hello, what's better? How about you guys? What do you say Woodbridge is the best town around? When I say 3, okay? One, come on over here. Say Woodbridge is the best town around. 1, 2, 3.
Woodbridge is the best town around.
Yeah, you got it. Give me some of that. Good job, guys. Now you're going to be TV stars.
Yes.
Can I be your agent?
Yeah.
I only take 50% of everything you make. Good deal? Just shake on it. All right. Thanks for watching.
Notice requirements of the open public meeting law have been satisfied concerning this meeting. The Home Tribune and the Star Ledger published a notice on December 16, 2016. It should be so noted in the minutes of the meeting, and a copy of the schedule is also posted on the municipal bulletin board. Councilman Anderson, Councilman Ficarra, Councilwoman Drum, Councilwoman De Jesus, Councilman Spiller, Councilman Small, Councilman Patel, Vice President Meehan, and President Delina.
Here.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from August 22nd and August 29th?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Beginning with second reading ordinances this evening, I'm going to do a group by consent. I'm going to letters A, B, C, D, E, F, and H. These are all second reading ordinances with regards to Chapter 7, which is our revised ordinances regarding traffic. The first is to delete a handicap parking space on Ridgedale Avenue, west side of the street. The second is to delete handicap parking on various streets, Tulip Drive and Walter Drive. The third is to add handicap parking on Walter Drive and Tulip Drive. D is to set the speed limits for Woodbridge Center Drive. E is to set the speed limit for Rawway Avenue. F is to add handicap parking on Edgar Street, and H is to do a designation for parking restriction on Corregia Avenue. Can I get a motion that these ordinances be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be open?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on second reading letters A, B, C, D, E, F, and H, and they're all to do with traffic only. Hearing no comment, can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinances be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Letter G, it's a lease agreement with the Woodbridge Housing Authority for a shared use of property on New Brunswick Avenue in the Ford section. Can I get a motion that this ordinance be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be open?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letter G only.
Good evening, Council President. George Block of Hopelawn. This is the Olson Towers that's over by the Dunkin' Donuts and stuff like that?
That's correct.
Okay. My understanding is that federal money was used in the building of that building back in, was it the 80s, 70s or something like that? Are you aware of that?
No.
No. I thought there was a restriction in there that can't be used as a parking lot if federal money was used for the building.
That's why we're voting on a ordinance, so we could agree upon an ordinance, and then it will go to the housing.
Housing on it. All right. Will this be public parking for the
For New Brunswick Avenue.
New Brunswick Avenue, and for the senior center that you're supposed to build, or you don't know yet?
No, that will just be for parking for New Brunswick Avenue.
Anything for the Greenway there, or no?
No.
You can't park the Greenway?
Well, if you go there, yeah, you can use the Greenway, why not?
Yeah, but you can't park in that lot.
Public parking lot,
There'll be a public parking lot, so we could use that for the Greenway too?
yes.
Okay. Will there be a time limit and restriction on this?
Do
we know anything?
I don't have that.
Will we be doing the upgrades there for lighting and security and stuff like that, or you don't know?
Yes.
Lighting and security. All right. Yeah, check into that federal thing on there and see if, that prohibits the acquisition of that property.
Councilman Carroll?
It's part of Woodbridge Housing, which is a federal government, so it's owned by the federal government. So once the council passes this ordinance, if they choose to do that, it'll go to the Housing Authority Commission, and then they pass it with the approval of the federal government.
Yeah, but the federal government built that.
It's owned by the federal government. It's
Yeah.
HUD property, right?
All right, yeah, so who has jurisdiction in the final say? Who could park
The
there?
Housing Authority Commission works on behalf of the federal government, so we have to react to their rules and regulations. So once it's passed here, it'll be presented to the commission. The commission will approve it. It'll be run by the feds for final approval, but a lot of homework has been already done.
Yeah, if there's any
so.
snafus, the feds will pick up on it. Okay, thank you very much.
Are there any other comments from the public on letter G only?
Yes, good evening, Tom Maris, Ford, New Jersey. On that lease agreement, that's going to go between the Woodbridge Housing Authority and Township of Woodbridge?
That's correct.
Okay. My question is, does good Councilman Vaccaro sit on that board? And if so, is he going to abstain from the vote?
Councilman?
I'm chairman of that board, and I wasn't going to abstain.
You have an interest in it?
I have an interest in it?
Well, if you sit on that board and you're making an agreement with the township, you have an interest in it, sir.
Any other comments from the audience on letter G only?
John Bertaric, Woodbridge. My question is, do we get any kind of monetary pay for managing these properties? I mean, does the township get any money from the federal government for managing public?
We don't manage it.
Pardon me?
It's not managed.
Well, whatever we do there, do we get any kind of so to speak, it's a federal, that means anybody that's, can go there, not just the Woodbridge residents, but do we get any kind of a fee from anybody, state or federal government?
It would be managed by the housing department.
Housing authority.
But they do have they get paid for a certain percentage?
I don't know what you're talking about. We don't manage properties. Housing authority properties are managed by the housing authority.
Well, I understand the other towns get 7% of rentals.
I don't know what you're talking about. We don't-
Look into it. Thank you.
Any other comments from the public on letter G only? Hearing no other comments, can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion.
Comments or questions?
I just want to say something, some questions were raised here tonight. This council is looking to help out the businesses on New Brunswick Avenue, okay? We're not looking into any kind of monetary making money of everything else. We're doing everything the way we're supposed to be doing it, and this is to hopefully help the businesses on New Brunswick Avenue so there's parking. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Second reading, letter I, an ordinance approving the application for a long-term tax exemption and authorizing the execution of a financial agreement with SAM TD Acquisitions Woodbridge Urban Renewal. Can I get a motion that this ordinance be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be open?
Motion.
Second.
Any comments from council? All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letter I only.
Good evening, Council President George Barger Hopewan. This is for the SAMTD acquisitions. They're from Lakewood or whatever. They're a development company, and this is for the 3 Ronson Road property?
Yes.
Okay, they're going to put like 800 units in over there, townhouses and stuff? And
350.
350?
Yes.
All right, and this is going to be a, pilot tax exemption?
That's correct.
How long?
The usual, was it 30 years?
30 years? Oh, boy. Another one over here. Okay, what's going to happen? Are they going to exclude kids from this, or you don't know?
I'm sorry?
Are you going to exclude children going to school from this, or what?
You can't exclude children from going to school if they live in Woodbridge Township.
No, I mean, this is a pilot. Pilot don't pay taxes
No,
to the school.
no.
How are they going to work this out?
I don't know what kind of answer to give them.
First, let me make a policy statement. We are pro-children. We are for youth. We are for children. We advocate for them. We're glad that people would even consider moving into the community and raising families. So, frankly, we're offended by your notion. Again, Mr. Trabalka, anti-youth, anti-children,
Anti-children?
anti-future.
Chewbacca, please.
So, we're on a different page when it comes to how we view families, family structure, and our commitment to youth. So, having said that, I think you're aware that we have a very strong commitment, Council President, to the Board of Education. They have shared in all the pilots we have done. I have never heard one word of concern, any expression of discontent by the Board of Education and the way we've handled our pilot agreements or with the way we have shared the proceeds from those pilot agreements with the Board of Education. So to answer that question, I think the Board of Education is happy with the way we do it. We certainly are. Again, we're pro-family, pro-children, pro-education. And let's say that pretty loud and clear. And I think the Board of Education is on the same page. So I don't think there's an issue there.
Thank you.
All right, just make sure no kids go to school from there. I mean, you know, what I'm saying is that you're using the pilot money for the pet projects for the town and doling out the money for greenhouses and turf fields and other little idiosyncrasies. Don't pay the salaries and buy the books and pay for the heat in the schools in the township. Thank you.
Are there any other comments on letter I? Letter I only?
John Tarek, Woodbridge again. Do we know any other towns that give a tax exempt to any development, such apartments, condos?
I don't know, no.
You don't know any?
Nope.
We are the only ones, right?
No, I'm sure we're not.
Well, probably maybe Newark does it. Maybe. Pardon me?
Yes, the council president will even do it, and that's a far cry from we're the only one.
Well, I'm sure we're not the only one, but I'm talking about like our so-called friends, Cedarville, Woodbridge. They don't do those things, do they? They do have a pilot programs for manufacturing
I'm
jobs.
not aware of it.
But again,
All I know is the pilot programs that Woodbridge goes forward with benefits the township of Woodbridge.
I don't see how, because
Okay?
we're not getting
How?
enough.
Because we have better schools. People, when they look to move somewhere, first thing they look at is schools. Their schools are going to be good enough for their children. So I think it's.
I don't know if
a
you're
good thing.
aware, if you know where, but our schools are failing because we got a problems.
Well, the schools are doing well. and
Well,
pilot programs are helping.
maybe on the
Helping other things such as rescue equipment, okay, that some of the squads can't afford. So it's a big benefit.
Of course,
okay?
we need all the stuff because we're a big population. But again, we are not getting tax ratables to support our taxpayers.
Okay.
You're spending money and you're giving those people 30 years for what? We don't have much property left, you know that.
A property that would probably never be used if we didn't have a pilot program in place.
Never be used, right?
I'm not saying that, but
look around
it's a possibility.
Look around
It's like down in Caseby, all our brownfields down there, our pilot program.
Well, yeah, you know,
which creates jobs, by the way.
Well,
many jobs.
For how
especially
many?
for
For how many
residents.
people, Mr. Delina?
I'm sorry?
For how many people?
For many people.
Well, what you call many people? A couple of years ago, I went to Mayor McCormick and asked him, why do we do such a thing as a KSB?
Okay, now.
Build a garbage dump.
Let's not get.
One second.
No. We're talking about the Ronson property. I'm not going anywhere else.
That's industrial property.
Okay.
We need jobs. I don't
Okay.
mean jobs to build apartments for 1 year or 2 years. We need jobs to be like Ronson was.
There's jobs for building, isn't there? You need people to build,
Where?
such as Ronson, the Ronson project?
Yeah.
Okay, that's jobs.
Well, that's jobs for how long? In 1 year, when they develop it, there's no more jobs, right?
And
You need more police and with the first aid, you everything else, right? Thank you.
Are there any other comments on letter I?
My name is Andrew Nagy. I'm a resident of Woodbridge Township since 1939. I've come to talk about all of these redevelopment projects. One of my favorite things early in the morning is to read the Home News Tribune and all the public notices. And I was wondering if I could just talk in general about these redevelopment projects that I'm speaking about, and not directly to
No,
this.
Mr. Nagy, you have to stay with this ordinance. If you'd like, you could bring that up during the public portion.
Okay, will that be later?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments on letter I only?
Yes, I have comments on letter I. Tom Maris, Swartz, New Jersey. I happened to be at the planning board meeting when that property, known as Ronson, was flipped from Ronson over to the person that bought it, who I believe at that time was Peter Mercantile and his group, the partner of John McCormick, or former partner before Mr. Lindolfi has a coronary, and now it's been flipped again. And at that time, they definitely said there would be no tax abatement for that property. Lo and behold, property gets flipped once more, for quite a substantial amount, and now we're going to give 350 or 355, whatever you want to believe, apartments, another tax abatement, which goes right on the back of the taxpayers. I'm glad you guys are taking care of Mr. McCormick and his friends.
Are there any other comments on letter I? Hearing no other comment, can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion.
Second. Questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. We will take by consent letters J, K, and L that are listed as first reading ordinances. Can I get a motion that the ordinances be passed on first reading, published in the Home News Tribune on September 8, 2017, with notice of public hearing to be held on September 19, 2017 at 7 p.m.
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Tonight you have 22 items listed under resolutions. Can I get a motion by consent to approve items 1 through 22?
Motion.
Second.
Questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, at this time we'll go to the public portion of the meeting. I ask that you look at by the microphone, state your name, where you live, and you'll have 5 minutes.
Do it over here and there. Good evening, Council President Gerard Trabaga Hoplan. Are we ready for the hurricane that's out there, Hurricane Ida? Let's hope it don't come, huh? Huh? Irma, Ida, whatever. Any one of them on there. Okay. Draw your attention to 21 bid on tonight's agenda. Johnston's Communications for cameras for the Woodbridge Community Center. $433,000, $603.32 cents. It's a lot of money. What is that, for security cameras? Or
Yes, it is.
over there, okay.
Security system and cameras.
Are they gold-plated? I mean, what are they? I mean, you guys have been crying the blues. You don't have the cameras for the police department, the body cams. You don't have the money, and you're spending almost $500,000 here for security cameras. I mean,
safety.
Police department, public safety. All right, another one on there. Route 9, Main Street. We're still working on that thing, the study and everything like that. Over there. Route 9.
Route 9 and Main Street.
Main Street. We're working on that study up there? Yep.
What?
We're working on that study up there for the apartments you're going to put up there over by the old Hess property. The solar panels are gone. What happened to the solar panels? They're gone.
I don't know about the study you're talking about.
It's about 2 or 3 meetings ago, so I'll send you an email on that. That bid for that Indian Cultural Center over there in Island or whatever, that was from the old VFW, that was rebid. Why was that rebid? Too high?
I don't know what you're talking about.
What was it, the VFW, the
American Legion?
American Legion,
That's
yeah.
going
That's
to be a senior building.
Senior building, whatever they're going to call it.
Senior community building.
That was rebid. The bids came in too high, and you guys rebid it?
Mr. Lindolfi?
Yeah, I'm doing this off the top of my head, Council President. I think that was the last meeting, but I think the first two bids, there were defects in the first two bids. The third bid was over engineer's estimate, so we had no bids that were responsive. We chose to rebid it.
Okay, that's pretty good on that. Let's watch that thing very closely, okay? Let's see now. The parking problem over there by Delina Manor, what you guys going to do about it? I looked, I counted the parking spaces. There's 29
We're
parking
not
spaces.
aware of a parking problem at this
29
time.
parking spaces. They are advertising 58
And by
on-site.
code, that is acceptable.
58 on-site parking spaces. I mean, that's going to clog up thing. It's clogging up Pennsylvania Avenue, Warden Avenue.
Mr. Trebaka, when it was the VFW, they were entitled to...
It was not a
They
24/7
were
operation.
Can I speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
They were entitled to on-street parking over there, front and back of the building.
Well, if you look
Okay?
at if you
So
look
that is included in the plan.
if you look at
That parking is included in the plan. That's
if you looked
correct.
at the property before and the property now, way overbuilt. It's a monster manor over there, and you better do something about the parking out there, okay? The bid for the ramp for the library, that go out yet? Anything?
Bid for-
Anything? Yeah, it's been awarded already? Okay.
So awarded?
Really? Okay.
Pre-construction meeting scheduled, it's awarded, the pre-construction meeting scheduled.
Okay, good. The motorcycle patrol, is it out there yet, police director? No?
No, it's not.
No chippies, chumpies, okay, out there. Lastly, do we know what happened with that Rummy Cop cover-up? Do we know what happened with that?
I don't know what you're talking about, rummy cover-up. I don't-
The two police officers that changed the police reports? Hello? It's right here in the newspaper.
Okay, as the attorney said...
Right here.
You contact
You want me
the
to read it to you?
You could contact the prosecutor's
don't-
office.
Know what's going on in this township? Public safety, council president?
Mr. Nolan said you could contact the prosecutor's office.
Well, why don't you tell the people right now what happened? You want me to read
If
it
you
right
want,
now?
you can contact the prosecutor.
Can I read this article?
No.
Why not? This is the official paper, council president. Huh?
Unless they wanted to Oprah channel, public media, you can read it, you have the right to do that.
All right. Well, whatever. I mean, I'm not gonna antagonize people over here like that. But you know, they went into PTI, and you know, they got a sweet deal out of it, and I applaud them. You know, for playing the system like that. And us common folk have to go through the whole judicial system and everything like that. Whereas if you're connected, boom, you get it like that right off the bat. And
You can tell that to the prosecutor's office then when you call them.
I'm asking you, council president. All politics is local. Take care.
Any other comments from the public?
Again, my name is Andrew Nagy. I would like to speak about the general increase in development of these properties in which apartments are going to be built throughout Woodbridge Township. In reading the Home News Tribune over the last year, I've come across a number of approved applications, and in general, they are the General Dynamics development with 550 units. The development in Islin on Route 27, there was 150 units. The Ronson Menlo Park project, 350 units. The Woodbridge Center Jewelry Exchange, 200 units. The development near Riffy's on Nielsen Street, approximately 100 units. The Metro Park Siemens application, approximately 400 units. The 1140 Rowway Avenue Metal and Thermit application, which is in process, is approximately 380 units. And finally, there was a notice regarding the Hess Oil property on Main Street for approximately 670 units. You total all of these applications up, and it comes to approximately 2,900 apartments to be either planned or in process or under construction in Woodbridge Township. There's not one project of a single-family type residential development in plans right now. I assume all of these 2,900 units are are rental units. They're not for purchase. Are these transient people that are going to be renting all of these apartments in Woodbridge Township? There is no pride of ownership, home ownership. The density of the land use seems to be extremely high. How many of these units are going to be affordable housing units? What will be the effect on our schools, school busing, the effect on traffic? I was looking at the Ronson application today at the site plan, and there is so much roof and so much parking on that particular site plan, there's almost no room for planting, and the storm water runoff is going to be tremendous. We are changing the face of Woodbridge Township. I remember I told you I came here in 1939. Woodbridge had 20,000 people, I think, in 1939. It was a very rural community. As I grew up, it became suburban. I graduated from Woodbridge High School in 1952, and the empty lots were starting to be built up by returning World War II veterans. So that we were becoming a suburban community. With all the addition of all of these apartments being added to Woodbridge Township, I looked up the word urban in the Webster Dictionary today, and it seems we're becoming cityfied, and we're losing that attractiveness of the suburban community. In my own feeling, these developments will be overpopulated. These places will become islands of humanity throughout the township. And finally, my comment about taxes. What will be the fallout of all of the required services that will be required by these 2,900 rental units? You people are the town council. You people over there are the professionals. You're leading Woodbridge Township in a direction where we're not developing single-lot, single-family homes. We're developing small cities in very small areas. And my own personal feeling is that you need to be careful in looking at what you're doing, looking very carefully at what's being developed. And my final question is, who is profiting from this kind of development? Is it to the township's benefit? Is it to the average citizen of Woodbridge Township's benefit? To whose benefit is the building of all of these rental units? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Council President?
Councilman Spiller.
Just to clarify Mr. Nagy's, some of his comments, there is no General Dynamics. It's the Station Village at Avenel Arts Village. There's 501 apartments, not 550, and there are apartments and there are townhouses. And who benefits would be myself as a resident. I live 4 houses away from that complex, so my property value has already gone up almost 2 digits by the demolition of the former property. So I just wanted to clarify his statement.
Okay, thank you.
Ann Kozar, Seawarren property owner. At the past few council meetings, I asked to reestablish the free local zoning board appeal venue. Superior Court, which costs at least $10,000, is currently a residents-only appeal option. I explained how my family appealed 2 of the 3 use variances our zoning board granted on property next to me. The Superior Court overturned both of the decisions passed by our zoning board. It cost us over $20,000 in legal fees for Superior Court. Had our board made the correct decision, we wouldn't have had any fees at all. At August 8th's council meeting, I asked if any council member would be opposed to reestablishing this free venue. Mr. Delina spoke for the council and stated the topic was discussed. However, quote, it would not be considered at this time. I'd still like an individual response from every council member as to whether they would be opposed to reestablishing this free venue.
At this time, will ask the council our attorney,
Yeah.
Coughlin.
Yeah, Mr. Kozar, thank you very much. Thank you, Council President. The Council President asked me to take a look at this. You know, this has been a long-standing ordinance. The system that's in place right now is pretty long-standing. It's about 20 years ago that they changed the process, and for good reason at that time. And in fact, the reasoning that existed then is true till today. That eliminating the council as an intermediate step is probably the most effective and efficient way of handling these affairs, and for a number of reasons.
Mr. Coughlin, could I have each one of those council members answer if they'd be opposed?
Well, Ms. Kozar, can you finish, please?
I mean,
It's not going into my 5 minutes, is it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it
Well,
is.
I don't want him to ramble on and not have me...
I've never been accused of
rambling. And I asked the attorney to answer it.
But let me just finish up, because there were some really sound reasons for this. And whether council people want to do that's going to be within the purview of the council president and the individual council members. But I think it's important that we understand what we're talking about, right? What we're talking about is,
I understand it.
Well,
I've had it for 17 years. I understand it.
Except that I think that it's short-sighted to think that this would be the be-all and end-all. Now, remember, there's a few things. The zoning board people are far more experienced than council members in handling these matters. They deal with them.
I didn't say it had to be the council. I said there should be some kind of appeal board.
But, my recollection was that you talked about having the council do it. That's
They used
the
to
system
do
that
it,
existed
and it
20
failed
years
when they
ago.
had it there. So there needs to be some kind of group that can do well by the citizens.
Well, but-
Could I finish, please? Then you can answer. You can go on. I'm afraid you're going to squash my 5 minutes. Okay?
Okay, Mr. Council President.
And is anybody on the council going to answer if they're opposed to this free venue?
No,
I'm just saying in general.
They're not going to individually answer you.
Okay. When you decided that you weren't going to reestablish the venue, was it a unanimous vote or was it 5-4? What was it?
We did not vote on it.
I thought you said you decided and that you came to the conclusion.
I said we would consider at the time, and the attorney.
No, you said that
the attorneys. I asked the attorneys to look into it and try to give you an answer, but you won't let him finish. But no, individually, we're not going to answer. The council's not going to answer your question individually.
Well, when you spoke, you said that you talked about it and you discussed it and you decided.
Discuss it with our attorney.
That wasn't what you said.
Our agenda.
Well, you said that it wasn't being considered at this time. You decided?
That's correct. That's
You
correct.
decided? You said you spoke to everybody?
Wasn't being
I thought there was a
considered until
vote.
I got to speak with our attorney, which I have,
So that's the only person you talked to?
and Council Vice President meeting.
Okay. So in other words, you people didn't answer whether you thought it was right or wrong. Thank you. Mr. Dolina said that...
President, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I just have to interject. Of course, that wasn't the way that it was, because this was not something that was brought to us by the administration or to the people. You brought this as a question. That was it. It was purely a question. We don't have to discuss your questions later on. There was a discussion between our council president, our council vice president, and our attorney. But when you come in and say, you don't set the agenda. We set the agenda.
No, but when it was discussed, he told me it was discussed and it was decided. I wanted to know who decided it. Evidently, it was not each individual member of the council.
I'm sorry, but your time is up, Mrs. Kosar. And if you want,
You took my time. You know what? Mine was under 3 minutes. I'd like to finish my
No, I'm
comments.
sorry, Mrs. Kosar. If you'd like, our attorney will finish answering what you had asked.
No, I don't want your attorney to finish answering.
Thank you.
I think you're really rude. I came here, I have 3 minutes. Yes, you are. And I think I should be able to finish. For him to filibuster and take my time, I don't care that he filibusters.
He stopped talking.
But he went on, and I don't want it to take my 5 minutes when I only have 5 minutes. I don't like to keep back week after week. Can you at least listen to what I have to
Mrs. Kosar,
say?
I'm sorry. I afforded you extra time the first time. The second time I did it, you called me rude, okay?
You were rude.
So I'm sorry, I'm going by what
So you're going to be rude again?
Okay, I'm rude.
Well, I'll be back to finish my comments. And I think the board, and when I come back, I would appreciate it if you would just give me my 5 minutes. I only had 3.5. And I think I should be able to speak because this is a very important topic. And the people of Woodbridge Township are not getting a fair deal. And I'm here to see that hopefully they can.
Well, I'm not going to say no. Okay, thank you.
Comments from the public?
Yes, Tom Maris, Fort New Jersey. Just like to thank that lady for her persistence. I think she's showing exactly what this town council has become. All of us, many of us here, that do still show up for these things, although one has to wonder why. Remember when this council was actually responsible and answerable to the citizens of this township. That no longer exists. That's a perfect example.
I never recall you ever saying that in 20-some years I've been on this council.
Well, so, you don't remember a lot, Ricky.
So now you're changing your story.
You don't remember a lot,
but
Ricky.
Go ahead. I remember you, Mr. Maris. What
Good. I hope you do. I remember that monstrosity, your name on it, over in Hopewell where I grew up.
Oh.
A lot of people are going to remember that
Okay.
long after you're gone.
That's fine.
Good.
I'm sure they're going to remember all the good things.
And the gentleman called it exactly right. Monster Manor. Monster Manor.
Now it's changed?
Thank you. Now you're interrupting my time. Excuse me. It's my time.
You want to bring up...
No, I'm talking my 5 minutes. Thank you. Thank you. Talking about forts, which you should know something about. There's been a lot of crime in that activity. Matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, a young lady was carjacked at gunpoint at 10:30 in the morning. And by the way, you might want to ask the township to go and correct the name of the street that they live on. It's supposed to be Douglas, not Douglas. That's South Grant. Our township employees must have spelled it wrong because it's right on the pillar there that says the street. But you might have them look at that. But anyway, she was robbed at gunpoint. 2 weeks earlier, people on the other side of the street were robbed, almost robbed at gunpoint, carjacked. This young lady's car was taken, her cell phone was taken, her wallet was taken. Fortunately, she was not interested. It was 3 black men. Apparently, the car was found up in Newark, but they had stopped along the way to try and charge sneakers to her credit account and also to get fuel. But they did find that car and the car that they came in, which was also stolen. And again, there's been a lot of home break-ins, which kind of goes to what this gentleman was talking about, Mr. Nagy. We're seeing this town degraded with more and more apartments. We know there's going to be a lot of Section 8 in there, a lot of affordable housing, if you want to call that to be politically correct. It's going to impact our schools. And I don't care, Mr. Landolfi's soliloquies about, oh, we're all for the kids. He could care less. He doesn't even live in this town. All he's worried about is getting his pension and going out. Well, my opinion, excuse me, it's my opinion. I can voice it.
I just find it personally offensive that in the same sentence that you mentioned that it was 3 black men, that you're now bringing up the fact that it's affordable housing, Section 8, and that we're bringing this town down.
Then be offended. Be offended. It's your right. My right to say it, your right to be offended.
What does it have to do with the fact that there were 3 black men that carjacked someone? What does that have to do with that? What's your question about that?
I just want to know if they were apprehended, and if that's the bulletin that went out to identify
that question didn't come up until just now. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, you interrupted me. I didn't get a chance to finish. Anything else?
Your 5 minutes.
What's left of it, yes. But again, the gentleman made a very valid point about the apartments that are going up here, the fact that many of these are getting tax abatements, which is going to go right on the back of the people. There's no industry coming in. So you can say all you want that we got Amazon over in Carteret. That's Carteret. How many people have you actually studied to see are employed by these people? And yes, we have construction jobs that go on. They come, the laborers come, and they go. A lot of them aren't even residents here.
Excuse me, there are FedEx in KSB.
Okay. How long have they been there?
A lot of jobs.
How long have they been there? And why did we give the oil companies tax abatements on the back of everything?
How long have they been there? It's something that a pilot program brought in, which they have...
Which we're talking about, Mr. Delina. It's great when they bring business. When you bring apartments that are going to burden the school systems and they got a 30 or 35-year tax abatement, that goes to the taxpayers. There's no ratables.
Okay, so when...
You should know that.
So when the
Obviously
schools get fixed, when the fields are fixed...
Oh, the fields. That's great. All show. But what about education? That's what those schools are there for. Not to play basketball, football, or big tennis courts.
You're running for Board of Ed, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, I know I am. And I know what I'm talking about, Mr. Delina.
It's been done. Okay?
What?
So if you're campaigning...
I'm not. It's not a campaign. I've been saying this for years, my friend. For years.
Your research then.
Good.
My friend.
Thank you. I'll give it all the credit it deserves. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I would just like to add that the 4 men that were apprehended for the carjacking in Fords were not black.
Oh, okay.
And also,
But you failed to mention that. But you failed to mention that. You
Mr.
failed
Maris.
to mention that.
Mr. Maris? Mr. Maris, you had your time?
Thank you. John Vitale, Woodbridge. I hate to correct Mr. Nagy, but it's not 2,900 apartments, 2,951. You forgot the Bunce Lane. So the additional...
That's existing.
But it's going to be
That's
51.
existing. So please, don't add on to something that's already existing.
But additional 51 units going to be put up there.
Okay, and it's a lot better housing
And a three-bedroom
for the people
apartment,
there
and a
of Woodbridge Township.
three-bedroom apartments.
So we shouldn't do things for the residents of Woodbridge either? Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's not the Woodbridge. I mean, everybody comes...
That's Woodbridge. Bunce Lane is Woodbridge.
I know.
Okay,
Everything's
residents
in
of
Woodbridge. Once when you rent place in Woodbridge, you're Woodbridge.
Is there something, are you saying
know
that we shouldn't do that for people over there?
Before, no, take it easy now.
I know, because you're bringing up something
Well, that's it. It's
existing.
additional 51
Okay, you're not
units.
going to come up here and say things that aren't correct.
It is correct.
I'm going to correct you if that's the case.
Ask the chairperson there. He would know, he's in the commission know that it's additional 51 units. It's going to be 300 some units now. Additional 51 units. So it's 51
Okay,
more than
and
one.
Years
ago,
they pay rent.
excuse me, Dalan. Years ago back, I'm in this town for 55 years. Anytime the big developer tried to build, they want him to put the roads, they want him to try to help with the schools, they want him to give a fire trucks, anything else. Now, I never seen it any town except Woodbridge that's catering to the big developers. Now, all those units, they're different corporation names, but more likely, it's the same person probably behind them. 1 or 2 people run all those units. They just put different corporations. Now, you talk about thousands and more people come to this town. I did go to the school board, and I told them, I think Mr. Ladafi said, no, they don't ever object. I said, you know, I've been a planning board, zoning board, and I see people from fire department say it. I see people from police department come and say this, they think, but I never saw anybody from school board come ever say, we don't need enough schools, or we got more schools than we needed. Nobody ever comes to school board. It's right. Because you know why? They have nothing to say. Now, as long as we do this, those apartments are going to be done, but I don't see any kind of planning except the rest of the schools. You're going to need not just the one school, you're going to need a lot of schools. How are we going to manage this? Where the money is going to come from? We just can't bond here to Kingdom Come. But again, all the money the mayor gives...
Mayor gives money where?
To the schools. What do they do? Playgrounds, beautiful fields.
Program is.
Well, what program is. If they would pay taxes to the schools, maybe some of their money will go to education, because if you look at it, Mr. Delina, we are definitely have a failing schools in this town.
We do?
But yes, we do.
I'm not aware of.
Look at it, well, not already, maybe a lot of
things. To the Board of Ed?
Look at, listen, they talk about sports. Sports.
Did you bring that up to the Board of Ed?
Look at the other surrounding
let them
communities.
explain it to you.
Look at the other surrounding. You know, and the worst answer I ever got. You know what I tell you? What the hell do you care? You won't be here when it comes. Yeah, but we always talk about it's for our kids. You want to make this stuff.
Who said that to you?
Well, I won't tell you private who the person is on the school board, but I tell you one thing.
Well, that's
do you want to make? 20 years ago, I said, Mr. McGreevy, what's going to happen to this town? You want to build another Elizabeth? That's what's going to be this town.
Why?
The way you do it.
Why are you saying Elizabeth?
We can't grow anymore. We're just building apartments. Where are you going to build economy, industry, businesses? We don't have the place to build. 20 years ago, we were 85% developed. How much further can you do this? There's no more swamp. There's no more. But again, look at what Sarah is doing.
I'm sorry, Mr.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the public?
Council President, I just want to add that I remember when I first came on the council here, and Mr. Vitalik was here, and his biggest issue were the empty storefronts on Main Street. And at that time, that was his biggest issue. A lot of the storefronts, a lot of these companies have gone to other towns because there's more foot traffic, There's more area built around their train stations. If you go down to Metuchen, they're doing the same thing. Actually, they're ahead of us in that area. They've already developed around their train station. You go to Westfield, you go to Cranford, they're all doing the same thing because they're trying to support their businesses because they know that the businesses are going to help with the tax base as well. All right, so that was your question when I first came on the council 6 years ago, but that since has changed.
No, it's not.
Excuse me. Councilman Vaccaro.
I just wanted to make a comment also about, it's come up a number of times, about the money from the pilot program that's shared with the Board of Education and it's used exclusively for athletic fields. I think if you look at the use of those fields, the fields are used mostly by the community and not just the athletic teams. It also frees up the Board of Education to spend their money on academic things that you refer to, but you're just referring to the fields. We've increased safety issues in the school. We've increased some of the infrastructures in the school, and I don't think there's any disagreement by the Board of Education. You can check with them, and I think someone's running for the Board of Education, so I'm sure they'll put that on their platform. But I just totally disagree that it is frivolous. It's not frivolous at all. It's a community, it's a quality of life issue, and I think it's money well spent.
Thank you, Councilman Vaccaro. Yes.
Hi, I'm AJ Roy from Avenel. I know nothing about the apartments, but commenting on the pilot programs that are connected with the school board and the athletic fields. I just recently graduated high school, so talking from experience, majority of the youth are extremely grateful about the fields. I have multiple friends, thankfully, since we have the resources, friends who have gone on with tennis scholarships and soccer scholarships. I have friends who just graduated that also have scholarships just because we have these resources now. And after graduating, I know many people, even the older generation, that use the track to walk around, at least for JFK, and we all play soccer on the field still, and we still use these things. So not just from a school standpoint, but it does benefit the community. And going to JFK, we had one of the best educations compared to like going to college now. I mean, we had an amazing academia there. So just commenting on these programs aren't, like Councilman Vaccaro said, frivolous. And me speaking, being 21, not 70 plus, these things did benefit the youth, and it's a general consensus going to school that it's been amazing that we're not running on like cracked concrete and running on grass where everyone's twisting their ankles in gym. I mean, it's been pretty beneficial. So if I can speak for the youth, we're pretty grateful as a community. Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting us on that. Both my children, too, attended Woodbridge High School, and they did very well in the system. It's a great school system, and not just because of sports or the fields, but the education that is there and offered. And also, they moved on and they have good careers also. So thank you for inviting us on that.
Can I make a comment?
I'm sorry, Mr. Nagy, you can't speak.
One comment, please.
No, yeah, I'm sorry. Public's, you were ahead of your time. Councilwoman De Jesus.
I think most of us sitting up here in council have young children in the schools. A couple of us had children that are athletes, and I have 3 in the public schools here in Woodbridge, and I'm very happy with the education that they're getting. My son plays soccer, my daughter plays basketball, and like the young man said, the children are happy. The kids in the schools are happy that they're, like, for example, Woodbridge High School, the fields behind Woodbridge High School look like the schools that they go into other towns to play at. And it matters how our children feel in the school, because if they're happy with what surrounds them, they'll do better in schools. So as a parent, I can say that I'm very happy with all the work that has been done in the school. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, we'll go to the agenda portion of the meeting. We'll just get there. My agenda is basically in order, but I would like to add to the Ford's business community. There will be a Halloween trick-or-treat on New Brunswick Avenue, sponsored by the Ford's business community. And, excuse me, Mr. Maris? Thank you. Will be sponsored by the Ford's business community, and that will be, I actually don't have the date in front of me, but I believe it's the Halloween, actual day of Halloween. And when I do have more information, I will bring it to the council meeting with me. And that's all I have. I'll go to Council Vice President Meehan.
Thank you. My agenda is in order also. Just a couple of things. Going down to number 13, the Heroin Task Force. On October 2nd, Woodbridge Township will be holding a Narcan training at 6 o'clock at the Woodbridge Health Center, located at St. George Avenue behind the library. This training is open to anybody who is at risk of an opioid overdose, or their families or their friends. All participants that come will receive a Narcan kit and educated on how to use this. And just one upcoming event I wanted to mention. In Colonia on October 15th, we are going to be doing a breast cancer walk. We used to have one in Woodbridge, and we haven't had one in a while, so we're going to bring that back just to bring awareness in October for breast cancer. We're going to leave School 21 on Inman Avenue in Colonia at 12:30. We'll proceed down to the Colonia Fire Department, where we will also be holding a spaghetti dinner for a Colonia resident who is battling advanced breast cancer. We join anybody to come with us that day, wear pink, bring awareness to this horrible disease. The dinner will run from 1 to 6 p.m. Tickets are $10 per adult and $8 for seniors. If you're interested in the walk or the dinner, you can reach me at 732-382-0273. And that's all I have this evening.
Thank you. We'll go to Councilman Anderson.
Thank you, Council President. My agenda is in order, but I do just want to mention that ShopRite presently is hiring, so if you're out of work, please contact ShopRite at www.shoprite.com or call 732-636-3500, extension 3902. They have all shifts available in all different departments. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Vaccaro.
Thank you, Council President. Just a few things on my agenda. First, at the community center, the Skyline mini golf and batting cages are still open in the back on cool evenings. They're a nice place to go and recreate. We have a very elaborate swim team, the Seawolves, and their tryouts are held on Tuesday from 6:30 to 7:30. Great activity for young people to get involved, and they're of all skill levels. Preschool registration at the Grove Child Care Center is still going on, so you can reach out to our community center for all of that information. In senior recreation, by now everyone should know that this weekend coming up is the 11th consecutive year that Woodbridge is hosting the New Jersey Senior Olympics. All of those beautiful facilities that we talked about earlier in this meeting will be used. There'll be people not only from out of town, but other states coming into town. Our hotels are filled, our restaurants are filled, so it's an economy driver besides being outstanding recreation for our senior citizens. The opening ceremonies are quite elaborate and very interesting and a lot of fun. It is this Saturday, the 9th of September at 10 a.m. at the Community Center. A big thank you goes out to all the volunteers from around town that come out for that event and support the senior athletes. Moving down to my item number 5, the Mayor's Fitness and Wellness Initiatives. A big thank you again goes out to our CERT team, our EMS folks, certainly the Woodbridge PD and the Mayor's Advisory Council for keeping all the runners safe this past weekend at the 22nd annual Crossroads race that was held over in Alvin P. Williams Park and along Cliff Road. It was amazing that it absolutely poured before the race. It absolutely poured after the race was over. Didn't rain a drop during the race, so I think we had a higher source that was with us. And then finally, looking ahead to the last Sunday in September is Sunday the 24th, and we have our Woodbridge Bike Tour. We have over 100 bicyclists registered already, with more to come, and that's a 30 and a 15-mile run. It's a safe ride throughout the streets of Woodbridge. So, again, that's September 24th. All of the information that I spoke about tonight is up on our website. Thank you very much, Council President.
Thank you. Councilwoman De Jesus.
Thank you, Council President. Item number 9 on my agenda. This year we'll be celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month on Sunday, October 1st from 12 to 4 at Parker Press here in Woodbridge. So please come out and enjoy live music, food, and other entertainment. Este año estaremos celebrando el mes de la herencia hispana el domingo, octubre 1 de 12 a 4 en el Parque Press aquí en Woodbridge. Item number 11. The Township Libraries will kick off a month of Hispanic heritage celebration and displays by hosting Viva Vallenato, folk music of Colombia, on Monday, September 18th at 7 p.m. at the main library. This program is free and open to the public, and registration is not required. Anyone who would like to sign up for full ESL classes and conversation groups in Woodbridge Township libraries should call Melissa Bernstein of Literacy, New Jersey at 732-906-5456. Registration ends this week. And I would like to wish all of Woodbridge Township teachers and students a successful and safe new school year. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Spiller.
Thank you, Council President. Just a few quick announcements. Item number 4, the Golden Saints asked me to announce their annual Tricky Tray. That'll be held Saturday, September 16th at Woodbridge High School. Doors open at 5. Tickets are called at 7. If you're interested, you can contact Jill at the Golden Saints at 732-258-6802. That's Jill for the Golden Saints Tricky Tray. Item number 6, the summer unfortunately it's still going, but the summer's over, let's face it. So Sycamore Senior Center is back in full swing. We've got 2 great events in the month of September. Spirit of New Jersey trip on September 13th, and their Oktoberfest, which is on October the 11th. You can contact the Sycamore Senior Center at 732-726-7087. That's all I have on my agenda this evening.
Thank you. Councilman Small.
Thank you, Mr. President. My agenda is in order. Just one announcement. Avenel Colonia First Aid Squad's holding their annual health fair on Saturday, September 30th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., 105 Avenel Street. All residents are invited. Refreshments will be served, and there will be a cardiac, stroke, diabetes, and pediatric emergency tables. Again, it's the 30th of September, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Patel.
Thank you, Council President. My agenda is in order. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mitch.
Thank you, Mr. President. The only item I want to comment on is 2A, just to make you aware, at our next meeting, you have scheduled a hearing against Zepro Bar and Grill. I'll let you know between now and then if it's going to be that night or if we're going to continue to postpone it until the state adjudicates their charges. That's all I have.
Thank you. We will now go to the administration. Mr. Landolfi.
Thank you, Council President. Before I go into my agenda, I think there's a couple of issues that were discussed tonight. I think we have to clear the record up. And, you can tell it's an election's approaching because we heard and saw a few individuals tonight that we only see between September and November of those years in which elections are going to be held. So their appearance tonight wasn't unexpected. Nor was the tone and tenor of their statements. Especially Mr. Maris, and the classic Mr. Maris methodology. He threw the incendiary bomb and then left. So he won't be present to hear any remarks in rebuttal. But in his classic fashion, he had hate-filled and innuendo-laced comments, made an inappropriate and totally inaccurate comment about the mayor and one of his former business partners, and he knew exactly what he's saying and the implication he was trying to draw there. He made a blatantly racist remark tonight, and I'm personally very thankful that Councilman Anderson was strong in his rebuke of that inappropriate statement, because I heard it the same way, Councilman, that you did. That aside, issues. I think there's some real misunderstanding, and I'm giving people the benefit of it, as opposed to misstating it, doing so purposefully, will say that they don't understand it. And that's a lot of the development that's taking place. And by the way, some of the individuals that came and spoke out tonight against the developments taking place and were encouraging other types of development, when we had industrial distribution, warehouse, commercial type development that was taking place, those same individuals came and spoke out against that development. So tonight what you heard was, well, gee, we should have more of that. Well, when we had the power plants, they were bad. They were bad then, but they're good now because they're not residential. So I think it goes back to where I started. It's election time, so whatever's being proffered is not good. So we have a little bit of revisionist history there. The first point I want to make is a lot of the development, virtually all the residential development that's taking place, is either true transit-oriented development, which utilizes the unique situation that Woodbridge has of having three train stations, and utilizing that unique setting to foster residential development that will utilize mass transit as a means to access the workplace. That type of development, and again, most of the development that's taking place is true transit-oriented development, which means it's extremely close to a transit hub. The rest of what is taking place is either in close proximity or will utilize some type of shuttle service to access mass transit. So really what we're seeing here is development that is centered around Woodbridge's unique place in the region as a transit hub. And that's a positive thing. If you know much about transit-oriented development, it does not attract, as a rule, families. And I'm going to go back to something I said before. We're pro-family. Nothing wrong with kids. We don't think they're a stigma. But you do have to understand that transit-oriented development does not attract a lot of families, does not attract a lot of children, does not have a major impact on the school systems. At the same time, the individuals historically who have occupied those types of dwelling units are middle to upper income, supportive of the local economies, and again, because it's transit-oriented, have very low ratios of automobiles, and as I said before, impact on schools. So it's a desirable demographic, a very desirable demographic. I don't know who made the point. Actually, we're starting to see a lot of neighboring towns are actually ahead of us in terms of attracting that demographic. It will be supportive. It will bring income to the community. It will not be a drain. Those pilot agreements, those tax agreements will result in net positive revenue to the community. Having said all that, it's not being done in a vacuum. We are very supportive of education. I think we're all aware, and one of the candidates, I believe, for the board failed to mention it tonight, that recently there was a referendum passed. Woodbridge Middle School is going to be, in effect, reconstructed. Ross Street School in Woodbridge is going to be reconstructed. Perhaps most importantly, and this was an initiative that Mayor McCormick has talked about for a few years, we are partnering with the Board of Education to assure that full-day kindergarten will be implemented in a year and a half. When you look at the commitment to education, it's unquestioned. Along those same lines, there was some misunderstanding, again, giving people the benefit of the doubt, of how pilots play into the educational process and support education. And I think Councilman Vaquero alluded to this. Every dollar that we spend on improving a facility, and we can do that, we are able to spend public money to improve public facilities. That's permissible. So every public facility that's owned by the Board of Education that we improve, every dollar that's spent doing that is a dollar that the Board of Education does not have to spend doing that. It's a dollar that they can then allocate to the pure educational side of the equation. We're not able to win and hire teachers. We're not able to win and buy books. We're not able to win and implement science labs. But what we can do is resurface a tennis court. What we can do is go in and renovate a gymnasium. What we can do is go in and renovate fields or create playing fields. All of those facilities would have to, and all those dollars would have to be spent by the Board of Education if we were not doing it. The dollars they save there, the dollars they don't have to allocate there, are then free to allocate for teachers, for science labs, for books, for the educational purpose. So that there truly is a relationship between what we do in supporting the Board of Education with our facility improvements and what they do educationally with their students. There's a direct relationship there. Last comment. A lot of the areas that are being redeveloped have either been fallow for extended periods of time, General Dynamics, severely contaminated, Ronson, a former large industrial site, fallow for a long time, or vastly underutilized. So that there is a true, well thought out redevelopment process that's taking place. It encompasses a partnership with the Board of Education. Again, I'm going to reiterate, you don't hear any complaint from the Board of Education as to how we're going about this. And we believe, in the long run, it will be extremely beneficial to the community. It will bear fruit. It will be beneficial. In the long run, Woodbridge will be a much better place for well thought out, well planned, well executed development plans. So we're proud of the direction we're heading in. Certainly not running from it. I thought it was important that we talk a little bit of broad stroke there before I get into my agenda. So forgive me for a little bit of a long-winded approach.
Not at all. Well said, Mr. Landolfi. Well said. Thank you. Excuse me. I'm sorry, Mr. Nagy. No, Mr. Nagy, Mr. Nagy, the public portion has been closed.
Mr. Delina, on my agenda, Council President.
Mr. Nagy.
That would give you a very good meeting.
Mr. Nagy, I'm sorry. Mr. Nagy. Mr. Nagy, please. Thank you. Mr. Landolfi.
Okay. Thank you, Council President. Under my agenda, we're going to request a contract with Limo Engineering for additional engineering and construction phase services for the Grit Chamber Rehabilitation Project. Also, we are going to contract for a sign inventory. And we have two Chapter 159s, one for the Microgrid Incentive Program. I believe we've talked about that. And also one for a recreational grant for opportunities for individuals with disabilities. And that's all I have, Council President.
Okay, thank you. We will now go to Director Hubner, Police Department.
Thank you, Council President. We have the addition of 3 handicap spots at the Highland Grove Pool and Fords, an amendment to a handicap placard number for space.
Excuse me, time out. Hey, Mr. Vitara, please. You can wait till after the meeting if you want to speak to him, okay? Thank you. Go ahead, Director.
Okay. Amendment to a handicap placard number on a space at Sierra Court in Woodbridge. The removal of a handicap space on Hudson Street, Menlo Park Terrace that's no longer needed. And then at the intersection of New Dover and Cheney Hill Road, we're going to move the yield sign from New Dover over onto Chano Hill Road. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to Health Department, Mr. Green.
I don't have anything tonight. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. We'll now go to Recreation, Mr. Simaluka.
Thank you, Council President. I have one item tonight, donation to the C. Warren Library. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We will now go Planning and Development, Ms. Levski.
Thank you, Council President. Just standard biweekly refund. Thank you.
Thank you. Public Works, Mr. Henry.
Thank you, Council President. I have one bond release. I have 2 resolutions. First one is authorizing execution change order number 2 for the contract for the 2016 sanitary sewer cleaning and TV of the MCUA line. I have a second resolution authorizing submission of application for a municipal grant from the state for road project for 2018 Park Avenue. Also want to remind the residents that next week the county will be holding a hazardous material drop-off at the Public Works Garage next Saturday from 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Legal Department?
Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned.